Hi everybody, it's Cherish. Welcome back to the channel. I am back from a long trip to Europe. I went to London and I went to France, and every time I think of that, I think I see London. Okay, so there are four things I wanted to talk about the trip that were amazing. I want to show you some footage of museums. I want to show you some footage of museums, and I want to show you how we got on over there. I think the main thing about travel, so let's start with number one. Where did we go? When did we go? So at the beginning of July, we went to London and we went to France, and it was fun. It was fun. It was so much walking. Public transportation there is so much different than public transportation here. I think ours is still, you know, there's still a level of ease, but the subway is it's like prolific there. The subway is prolific. Ours is just in its infancy, so give us some time. But transportation there was amazing. And then the cab drivers were also amazing. They were so funny. One guy drove us past Robert Plant's house and Robbie Williams' house and was like, oh my God. So I sent that video to my dad because he's a huge Led Zeppelin fan. I think the thing about being there versus being here is there's so much more walking. So in the future, you know, I got to up my walking game before I go out there because I was struggling. The main thing was I wanted to talk about the museums. Oh, I had such a good time at museums. I went to the National Gallery, we went to the British Museum, and we went to the Louvre. And yes, there are more museums out there, but we traveled with folks that aren't art people. Like my brother-in-law is a photographer, so he's an art person, he gets it, but everyone else is not. So we wanted to, and I wanted to be a tourist, so I wanted to see the sights, and that's what we did. So the first place we went was Stonehenge, which was so interesting. It was so amazing. It's bigger than I thought it would be. Okay, it's bigger than I thought it would be, and I was just amazed. I was floored. Yes, I made that into a two-syllable word. I think I just dribbled. Anyway, I was floored at Stonehenge. We went around that, and then we went to Westminster. No, not Westminster. Salisbury Cathedral. Yeah, we went to Salisbury Cathedral, which was just like, you know, like you know, like I get it, because if you think about like when they built it, I want to say 700 years ago. Oh my God, Victoria, the lady who gave us a tour, would be so upset at me for not. The tour guide ladies, they were so cute and they were so hilarious. they were just adorable. I wanted to put them in my pocket and take them with me. So we had a tour. The tour was free. There was no, like, you didn't have to pay for a tour. You didn't have to do anything special to get it. The tour is free, and we got to go through, we went through the whole cathedral. And I would say we went to places in a cathedral where you don't normally think you should go. Like we went beyond, you know, where like the pulpit would be, but past to where the choir sits and around the back. And so you can see, like, we saw the whole cathedral front to back. And the stained glass, stunning. Of course, I have no pictures of it. The stained glass was stunning. The cathedral itself was stunning. The history behind the cathedral was amazing. There was a moment where they talked about how they added the spire 100 years after they built the, you know, the main structure of the cathedral. And it was, you know, it's like 30, 40 feet in the air. That's how high the ceiling is. And she's like, go stand and look at the columns, because the spire was so heavy, because it's all built out of stone. The spire was so heavy that it started to bend the columns. And so I walked over to the column and I looked up, and you know how you can see, like, if you take a piece of wood and you look down that piece of wood, you can see that it's straight. Well, the column was doing this. It was I'm trying to get it on the screen. The column was like, here we go. The column was like, and I looked up, the column was like, oh. I just shouted it in the middle of the church. Oh my God. And there was only one lady who actually heard me, but I was very, like, I was shooketh, okay? And before that, she explained how they like had structured it and like buttressed it and everything. So it was sound. It's sound. But the visual, like they're not taking those columns down. The visual of the column bending like Beckham was not cute. It was not cute. Okay, so we went to, that was like probably the most touristy thing that we did. You know, we went to Westminster Abbey, which was also amazing. My husband got me to go to the top of the Abbey. I didn't realize it was the top of the Abbey because if I had, I wouldn't have gone up there. But I enjoyed the Abbey so much, and you get to see, I mean, like all the, you know, if you watch the History Channel, or like if you watch history on YouTube, and they're always talking about people in English history, and that's where they are. They're, you know, Elizabeth I is right there, you know, Mary Queen of Scots is over there, you know, like Elizabeth I, her tomb is on top of her sister's tomb. And it was like, wow, okay, girl. Excuse me. Anyway, you know, George, everyone's, you know, with Bridgerton, King George, he's there too. So it's just, and then some of the alcoves and some of the statues, the way that they've done the statues were so beautiful and serene, and the way that they kind of carved everything out of in the alcoves to like, I don't know, it's just like this is heaven, you know, this is the idea of heaven, and this is where this person is going to rest forever. And it was simply stunning. Let's talk about the National Gallery. The National Gallery, first off, their social media, where they have YouTube, they have Instagram, they have TikTok, so they have a lot of touch points where you can learn about the paintings before you even go to the museum. So I knew that some paintings were there. I knew that they were there because I'd seen them on their social media account. So I kind of went in with that intention of like finding those paintings. There were paintings that I did not get to see, and I'm really kind of upset about that. Not upset, but just like I'm you know, I'm upset that I didn't get to see them. But I think the thing you have to remember is you have to have time. You have to have a lot of time. And these places are palaces. They're like huge. So the way that we went, the direction that we went was, you know, Renaissance. They had the idols, the older idol paintings. They had the, I can't think of the names of any of these things, but the one that was the wedding, you know, they had that one. They had, and I'll put the names on because, you know, but they had, oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy. What is it called? The something. Hold on. It's a Dutch painting where the man and wife are standing there. She's got a green robe on. My God, I typed in the weirdest set of like keywords and it found it on the first one. The Arnolfini portrait. It was like, that was so hard. Anyway, so I saw that. It was bigger than I thought it would be. It was literally like you know, half of me sized. But Van Gogh, and I've seen a Van Gogh before. They have them at the Norton Simon. They have the portrait of his mother. They have like a vase or something. They have a couple at the Norton Simon. So I've seen them and I've spent time with them. But the ones that they had there, they had some of the, you know, the tree paintings, the cypress paintings. But they had one that was kind of in a corner, and it was, I mean, the paint still looked like juicy and shiny. So whoever their conservator is, okay, beautiful. As a matter of fact, all the paintings looked fresh and new, okay? But Van Gogh's drawing technique is so prevalent. Like when you see it in person, when you see one where like you can tell he's in the mode, the drawing was so good. And I was just like, wow, this is just a painting. It's like a still life painting of a chair in a room. And it was fine, but it was amazing because of the drawing just made it for me. And you can tell that he drew it in with kind of like an ochre, burn umber kind of a look, and just drew it in, and then started with that kind of famous textural painting that he does. And the fun part about it, let me bring it up as I'm talking to you. the fun part about that painting was definitely you start to understand a little bit more about the way that he applies paint. You start to understand more about how the colors harmonize with each other. There's a little, it's like everything is of a certain shade and of a certain tone, and that was, you know, chef's kiss for me. Loved it. They did have Monet water-lily painting, one of them, not one of the really big ones, but definitely one of the water-lily paintings. And I kind of loved I loved that it was very loosely painted, and I loved the abstraction in the painting. And it kind of, and it's like, yes, I totally get it. This looks like a calm day on the Lakey River thing or whatever. And it was just, and like the color harmony was just spot on. The water was purple, you know, there was like some blue in it, but it was mostly like purple and pink. And that was just amazing. So the other thing that that was an eye-opener for me was there were some paintings that when you see them in books, or if you're in a class and you see them on a slideshow or whatever, when you see them in person, the way that the gesture is kind of communicated in that painting, it's so much more gestural than it looks in a photograph. It's so much more painterly than it looks in a photograph. And I can see how the impressionist looking at that kind of painting would move in that way, move toward more gestural painting, move toward more painting from life and painting from sketches, painting things that look like sketches. The way that the figures were, I mean, it was so much more and so much less. Like, you know, defining a shape with the biggest shape and then just going back in with some strokes to kind of give the impression of a fur or of an earring or of an eyeball. It was very much a person who understood that the painting was so big that to see the whole painting and to see everything that was happening, you have to stand across the room from it. And when you stand across the room from it, it resolves into a totally realistic painting. But up close, you know, and I was this close, they did not care. I was like, no one said boo to me. But up close, those paintings were abstract, almost abstract. And I loved it. I was silly with glee over the abstraction. There were paintings where the actual paint, like in a lot of the Renaissance paintings and a lot of the earlier paintings, they're perfect. You know, there's not a brush stroke, not a brush mark to be seen. And some of these paintings, you can see like this brush stroke, and you can see like the shoulder of the man, you know, leaning back, and this big brush stroke for the highlight on his forehead, and the musculature just defined in like quick strokes of paint. And it was stunning to see. It was absolutely stunning to see. I enjoyed that so much because it, like, as a person who is a realistic painter, there's definitely a need for abstraction in painting. There's definitely a need to describe things quickly without having to be photorealistic every time you pick up a brush. So it was really interesting to see that, and it was really interesting to experience that. The other thing after saying all of that, Veronese. Paolo Veronese. Oh my God. He was in the National Gallery, and he was in the Louvre, and I'm in love. Absolutely in love with his work. Hold on, I bought a book. Actually, I bought two books. So this is the first book, Paolo Veronese and the Practice of Painting in Late Renaissance Venice. Honestly, not enough actual pictures of his work, because I love pictures of the artist's work, but this one is, it's a lot of words. I am going to get into it, I am going to read it, but it's a lot of words. This book right here, this book is a lot of picture, and I love a lot of picture. The thing about his work that I love is that there's a harmony of color in all of his paintings. Like when you see his paintings kind of one after another, you can tell that they're painted by the same artist. Like you can tell that that's his work. You can also see, you know, some are looser, some are tighter, but the way that he paints is just beautiful. He just has a mastery over paint that does nothing but good things for the story. So this is one that I love from the book, but I'll show it to you. And it's just, they're all like this. They're all kind of, he does his angle from the bottom, kind of like, what's that director, the one that does Bad Boys, you know? You know, everything's from the bottom, everything's shot from below, and kind of, yeah. Michael Bay, there you go. Michael Bay. So this is like Michael Bay, but early Renaissance. Love his work, love it so much. And yeah, it's stunning. His work is stunning, and I ain't never gonna quit him, okay? I ain't never gonna quit him. It was just, oh, it was so good. Hey there, this is Cherish. I decided to change my shirt. No, I'm just kidding. It's a different day. This is editing Cherish. I'm splitting the videos into two. The Paris video will be next week, where we go to the Louvre, and it will be super fun. And come back, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!